I have kept chickens for years. I have made every single mistake you can possibly make with this hobby. I've bought the wrong breeds, trusted the wrong hatcheries, believed the wrong people on the internet. And today, I'm going to save you from all of that because we are talking about my top 3 absolute worst chicken breeds and my top 3 absolute best chicken breeds that I have personally raised on this homestead. And I need you to stay with me all the way to the end because my number 1 pick, my absolute favorite breed of all time, is a breed that most people have never even heard of. And once I tell you about it, I genuinely believe it is going to change the way you think about chickens forever. Let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to start right here, and I already know half of you are going to disagree with me in the comments. And that is totally fine, because this is a deeply unpopular opinion. But my number 1 worst breed that I have ever kept on this property is the white Leghorn. And before you close this video, let me explain myself, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but they're incredible layers. And yes they are. A good white Leghorn hen will pump out over 300 eggs in a single year. And that is genuinely impressive. I will give them that. But here's the thing that nobody talks about when they're selling you on Leghorns. These birds are completely and utterly out of their minds. I mean that. They are the most flighty, stress-prone, neurotic breed I have ever worked with in my years of keeping chickens. You walk into the coop to do a simple water change, just a water change, and these birds act like you are a literal predator. They fly into the walls. They pile on top of each other. I have had Leghorns injure themselves just from the panic of me walking through the door. And when a bird is in a constant state of stress like that, it affects everything. Their laying, their immune system, their behavior toward the rest of the flock. Stress is a disease on a homestead, and Leghorns bring it with them everywhere they go. Now I know some of you are going to say that's a management issue, that if you raise them from chicks and handle them constantly, they calm down. And I hear you, but I want to be really clear. I have raised Leghorns from day-old chicks. I have handled them daily. I have done everything the books tell you to do. And I still ended up with hens who would rather fly headfirst into a fence than let me get within 3 feet of them. It is a breed-level trait. It is in their genetics. The commercial egg industry selected these birds purely for egg output and nothing else. And what got sacrificed along the way was temperament. And then there's the cold. We get real winters here. And white Leghorns have those big, beautiful single combs. And those single combs get frostbitten. We are talking black tips, tissue damage, birds that are visibly suffering. I'm not willing to keep a bird through a cold winter knowing they're uncomfortable just because they lay a lot of eggs. There are breeds that lay just as well and handle the cold without any issue. So for all of those reasons, the stress, the flightiness, the cold hardiness problem, white Leghorns are my number 1 worst breed. Won't be coming back to this homestead. Silkie, my second least favorite breed. And again, this is going to make a lot of people very angry with me, is the Silkie. And look, I understand the love for Silkies. I truly do. They are adorable. They look like little stuffed animals. They are the breed that gets kids interested in chickens, and I respect that completely. But from a practical standpoint, from a homesteader's perspective, Silkies are one of the most high-maintenance, frustrating birds I have ever dealt with. And here is exactly why. Problem number 1, those feathers. The same feathers that make them so cute to look at are covering their eyes. Silkies cannot see properly. They walk around half blind all the time, and that makes them an absolute magnet for predators. We lost 2 silkies to hawk attacks that birds with normal feathering would have spotted from 30 yards away. Because a silkie literally cannot lift its head and see the sky clearly. That is a serious problem if you free range or even if you have a run that isn't fully covered. Problem number 2. Silkies are broody to the point of self-destruction. Now I know some people love a broody hen, and in the right situation, broodiness is a wonderful trait. But silkies go broody constantly, relentlessly, regardless of whether there are eggs under them or not. I have had silky hens go broody on an empty nest, refuse to eat or drink for days, and have to be physically removed from the nest box repeatedly just to keep them alive. They will sit there and starve themselves and lose a third of their body weight, and they simply do not care. It gets to a point where it stops being charming and starts being a welfare concern. And then there is the health issue. Silkies have a vaulted skull, meaning there is an opening in their skull, which makes them uniquely vulnerable to head injuries. A peck from a larger bird in the wrong spot can genuinely be fatal. We had to separate our silkies from the rest of the flock entirely because the risk was just too high. At that point, you are not keeping chickens anymore, you are running a hospital. So, beautiful birds, genuinely lovely temperament, not practical for a working homestead. That is my verdict on silkies. My third least favorite breed is one that I think is going to surprise some people, and that is the production red. Specifically, hatchery production reds that are being sold as Rhode Island reds. Because here is the thing, a true heritage Rhode Island red is actually a fantastic bird. Deep mahogany coloring, great layer, dual purpose, calm temperament. A real Rhode Island red is a great chicken. But what most people are buying at the farm store or from large commercial hatcheries labeled as Rhode Island reds are not that bird. They are production reds, a hybrid that has been selected so aggressively for egg output that everything else about the bird has suffered. And the first thing that suffers is temperament. The roosters from these hatchery lines are some of the most aggressive I have ever encountered. I have a zero tolerance policy for aggressive roosters on this property. That is a hard rule and it is non-negotiable. And production red roosters tested that rule more than any other breed I have kept. I had one go after my kids twice in the same week. Gone immediately. And the hens are no prize either. They peck relentlessly, they are bossy, they disrupt flock harmony in ways that cause real problems, especially if you're integrating new birds. On top of that, production reds burn out fast. They are selectively bred to lay as many eggs as possible, as quickly as possible. And by year 2 or 3, their production drops off a cliff. Your heritage breed hen is going to lay moderately and consistently for 5, 6, 7 years. Your production red is going to go hard for 18 months and then basically retire. From a sustainability standpoint, that is a really bad deal. You are working harder to maintain a bird that gives you a shorter productive window. So if you want a Rhode Island red, and they are worth wanting, please find a reputable breeder who is working with actual heritage lines. The bird you get will look different, behave differently, and honestly change your entire opinion of the breed. But the hatchery version? Not for me. Not anymore. All right, we made it through the worst. Now let's talk about the good stuff. because these 3 breeds have genuinely made this homestead better, and I cannot wait to tell you about them. Starting with my number 3 favorite breed of all time, the Australorp. First of all, can we talk about what this bird looks like in the sunlight? Because on camera, it just looks black. But when you get an Australorp outside in natural light, the feathers have this incredible beetle green iridescent sheen, and it is one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen in a chicken yard. These are genuinely stunning birds, and they don't get nearly enough credit for it. But looks are not why they are on this list. They are on this list because they are workhorses. The Australorp holds the world record for egg production. A hen laid 364 eggs in 365 days, and that record has never been broken. Now, your average backyard Australorp is not going to hit those numbers, but 5 eggs a week consistently, reliably, through most of the year, that is what you can expect from a good Australorp hen, and that is fantastic production from a full-sized heritage breed. The temperament is exceptional. I have never had an aggressive Australorp rooster. The hens are calm, curious, and easy to handle. They integrate well with other breeds. They are great with kids and beginners. And cold hardiness, no issue whatsoever. These birds do not care about winter. They come out in the snow and act like it is a perfectly normal Tuesday. The one reason they did not make it higher on my list is fertility. Similar to some other heavy breeds we've worked with, we found that fertility rates with our Australorp roosters were inconsistent enough to cause real headaches during breeding season. It's not universal. Plenty of breeders have great results, but it was enough of a recurring issue for us that it knocked them down a spot. Still an outstanding breed. Absolutely recommend them. My second favorite breed is the Speckled Sussex. And these guys make this list for reasons that go way beyond just eggs and meat. Because the Speckled Sussex is hands down the most personable, engaging, entertaining chicken breed I have ever kept. These birds have personality like you would not believe. They follow you around the yard. They sit at your feet while you do chores. They talk to you constantly. If you have never been followed around your property by a Speckled Sussex hen, narrating everything you do in a running commentary of soft little clucks, you are genuinely missing out on one of the best parts of backyard chicken keeping. My kids adore them. They will walk right up to strangers. They are completely bomb-proof temperament-wise. And they are gorgeous. The speckled feather pattern, mahogany with white and black tipping, gets more beautiful as the bird ages because each molt adds more white speckling. So the older your Speckled Sussex gets, the better looking it becomes. That is the opposite of most breeds, and I love that about them. They are a true dual-purpose heritage breed. Good layers of large tinted eggs, around 4 per week, and heavy enough to be a respectable meat bird. They are cold hardy, they forage brilliantly, and the hens go broody reliably, which for a homesteader focused on sustainability is a huge deal. The reason they are number 2 and not number 1 is that the roosters can be hit or miss in terms of temperament. We have had wonderful Speckled Sussex roosters. Calm, protective of the flock without being people aggressive. But we have also culled a few that decided they owned the yard. With careful selection, you can breed that out, and we are working on it. But it is something you need to be aware of going in. Still one of the greatest breeds on earth. Number 2 on this list by a very slim margin. And here we are, the number 1 spot. My absolute favorite breed that I have ever kept, the breed I will always have on this homestead no matter what else changes, the breed I recommend to every single person who asks me where to start, the Buckeye. Now, I told you at the beginning of this video that my number one pick would be a breed most of you have never heard of, and I meant it. The Buckeye is not popular. You will not find it at your local farm store. You probably cannot get it from a hatchery, and if you do find one, it was almost certainly bred wrong. And that anonymity is actually one of the biggest tragedies in the chicken world, because this bird is the most complete homestead breed in existence, and almost nobody knows it. Let me give you some history, because it matters. The Buckeye is the only breed in the American Poultry Association's Standard of Perfection that was created by a woman, Nettie Metcalf of Ohio, in the late 1800s. She developed this breed specifically for the cold Ohio winters, for dual-purpose production, for hardiness and survivability. She was not breeding for show. She was breeding for real homestead conditions. And you can feel that intentionality in every aspect of this bird. The cold hardiness is unlike anything I have experienced in another breed. Buckeyes have a pea comb, small, tight, low to the head, which means virtually zero frostbite risk, even in the most severe winters we've had. While other breeds were huddled inside miserable, my Buckeyes were out in the yard scratching in the snow like it was fine. Because for them, it was fine. They are built for this. The temperament is extraordinary. I have never, and I want to be very precise here, I have never had a single aggressive Buckeye rooster in all the years I have kept this breed. Not one. And I have gone through a lot of roosters because I breed them, I hatch them, I evaluate them. Not one has ever shown aggression toward people. They are protective of their hens the way a good rooster should be, but they are calm, measured, trustworthy birds around people. I would hand a Buckeye rooster to any child on this property without hesitation. And the intelligence. This is something that does not get talked about enough with chickens, but it is real. Breed lines do vary in intelligence, and the Buckeye is at the top. They adapt to new routines quickly. They recognize their keepers. They problem solve in ways that genuinely surprise you. Managing these birds is easier than managing any other breed I have kept because they work with you instead of against you. On the production side, good, consistent layers of medium to large brown eggs. Not record-breaking numbers, but reliable, year-round production, even in winter when other breeds slow way down. The hens go broody with reasonable frequency, which means this flock can sustain itself if I need it to. And as a meat bird, a properly bred Buckeye from good heritage lines has a broad breast and genuine table weight. This is a bird that can pull double duty on a serious homestead. The one thing I will tell you going in, find a reputable breeder. Do not buy Buckeyes from a hatchery. The hatchery versions of this breed are noticeably different from birds coming out of dedicated breeding programs, and the difference in quality is significant. Do your research. Get on waiting lists if you need to. Find someone who has been working this breed for years. It is worth every bit of that effort. This bird will pay you back tenfold. If I had to pick one single breed to take with me to a self-sufficient homestead with no resupply, no feed store access, no outside support, it would be the Buckeye every single time. No contest, no hesitation. The best chicken breed in existence for the serious homesteader, and it is not even close. So there you have it. My 3 worst and my 3 best based on real experience on this actual homestead. No sponsored opinions, no hatchery deals, just what I have lived with and learned the hard way over years of doing this. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now. What breed is on your worst list that nobody talks about? And what breed do you think belongs in that number 1 spot that I might have missed, because I genuinely read every single comment, and some of my best farming decisions have come from conversations in this comment section. If you are new here and this video gave you something useful, subscribe. I post every week, and everything I make is about real homesteading, real results, and real talk. No fluff. And I'll see you in the next one.